Landmark complaint. Uighurs accuse China of mass detention and torture. In Xinjiang, China, or East Turkestan, a complaint has been filed at the International Criminal Court, or ICC, by two organizations of Uyghurs. The organizations accuse the Chinese government and specific senior officials of crimes against humanity, torture, and genocide. It is the first time members of the ethnic minority group have sought to use international law to hold Beijing accountable for their alleged mistreatment, including mass internment and repressive measures against their religion. The broader allegations filed by the ICC are that the Chinese government enforced sterilization programs among the Uyghur population, carried out mass surveillance and massacres in Xinjiang, and coerced some individuals into becoming informants on Uyghurs living overseas. The United States and China are among several countries that do not recognize the ICC's jurisdiction, but the court still has 123 other member states that do acknowledge its status, so investigations of and trials against those suspected of genocide, war crimes, and crimes against humanity do carry significant international weight.
Well, why did it take so long for them to do this, and does it actually have an impact?
I cannot answer why it took so long to do so. This has been ongoing for a long time. I think maybe it's finally getting the attention it deserves. And I will say that the development of, for example, the report by the Associated Press of what is now extremely well documented demographic engineering and the mass sterilization and birth control programs that came out over this past summer. That's a new piece of evidence that does meet one of the 5 UN's criteria for genocide. So that criteria and the scale of the evidence for that criteria, to my knowledge, my understanding is that that's fairly new within the past couple of months. So maybe that kind of answers your question. In terms of what weight this carries, like I said, the United States and China do not recognize the ICC.
You already said.
But
okay, cool.
Over 100 other countries do, so it can't carry weight.
Okay, cool. Rivka, did you want to add anything to that? Oh, well.
No, I think it's good actually, though, because I think it's, sorry, my dog's barking, but I think it's good that they are using some of the tools that are available to them, and it's getting international attention.
Okay, we got a new member. Tyler is our new member. Yay! Thank you so much, Tyler, for becoming a new member. And we got an amazing comment. I can't believe it. Oh my God. Cuban is saying, Armin Navabi, Carl Sagan, and Matt Dillahunty changed my whole way of thinking. Wow. Okay. Amazing to be put next to those great people.
Well, Armin also changed my way of thinking.
Aww. Okay. All right. So again, I can't do the clap. So.
Well, do we want to say anything else?
Oh, about this? Oh.
Yeah.
I mean, I think it's just a wait and see situation because I don't know if it's going to have any impact, right? I don't know much about how much influential that is, right? And I also want to figure out why it took them so long to file this. Like, if it was this is like one of the most well documented human rights violation of our time. So why do these things take so long? Like, do these guys I don't understand. I don't understand why they take so long.
I mean, I would say speculation. The magnitude of evidence required for a claim of that gravity, probably the standard is so high.
It's just so amazing to me. Every time stuff like this happens, it takes 2 days for a major human rights violation to start and last for years. And it takes so slow for people to just do something. Like you go on a day and there's people somewhere are not being bombed right now, and then you wake up tomorrow and all of a sudden, holy shit, something huge happens that's going to stick with us for a couple of, the war in Yemen, this genocide thing in China, Rwanda. There's so many examples, and it just starts like this, and then the response to it is just come on, like how is it like why is it taking us so long? I mean, like there needs to be this whole world thing, you know, people coming down and this whole never again bullshit that apparently is
Bullshit.
yeah, never again bullshit is like apparently like no, not never again. It's like over and over and over and again. This thing needs to have some teeth. Like there needs to be some international. Like, all the institutions that we created after World War II to stop shit like this, it's like doesn't have enough power, and a lot of people just give up on them. I just wish like there was better. They just work better. I think like I wish instead of people just washing their hand off of it and be like, yeah, UN can't do anything, and these human rights tribunals, they're so slow. I mean, so they, instead of just dismissing them as things that don't work, I wish that people could just be like getting their local politicians or like to like figure out how to cooperate with other civilized countries to make them even more. And again, one reason why they don't work is the misuse of human rights violations for political score like games, right? And that's why people don't trust this anymore, because like countries, for example, countries like United States is one of the worst offenders. Instead of actually standing for human rights, it just United States use these as a way to score points against its enemies, right? This is why United States is taking a position against China and Iran for its human rights violations, but nothing against Saudi fucking Arabia, right? And because people can obviously see that this is not because of human rights, but because of taking a position against your political enemies, then it's not going to be as effective because people are not going to believe in it. People are not going to support stances against human rights violation. Again, go ahead.
In fact, to the point that when we bring up topics like this, our American audience, or I'm going to assume they're predominantly American audience, will then point the finger back at ourselves and say we're hypocrites because of Saudi Arabia. I'm like, yes, but let's focus on what's happening here with what we're talking about. Enough with the navel gazing. Oh my God.
But again,
people thinking that we're either exceptionally good or exceptionally bad.
But that works, and to make it stop work, United States, for countries like United States, do need to be more consistent when it comes to anyways.
Yeah, but using that as a distraction from what we're actually trying to address is very frustrating to me.
Yeah.
In the live chat, Daniel Jones, his member, says, it depresses me how much people across atheist groups I'm in dismiss what the Chinese are doing as justified. I agree. I think it's completely reprehensible. Anyone who says that this is how you handle Islam or this is how you treat Muslims, you are a bigot, you are cruel, and I am disgusted by your attitudes. I don't care about your faith. This is reprehensible, okay? The documentation of what's going on against their women, the documentation about what is going on inside of these concentration camps, the way they're torturing people, the organ harvesting, the harvesting of their hair, the mass detention, the mass surveillance. Part of the reason why I think that this has taken some time to be addressed properly on this international scale is the level of mass surveillance that we have not seen so far in this century. It is so intricate. I think that has played a role in taking it so long to get out, because the people who do get out, they are disincentivized from speaking out because anyone left behind will be punished for it. I forget what that's called, but that's the name of a principle. Like, you get out, they're coming for your cousins. Okay? So the people who speak out, that's the moral dilemma that they are in. Right? And people who manage to escape from in places like Turkey, they end up being deported back to Xinjiang. Okay? The level of intricacy of this mass surveillance, demographic engineering, and ethnic genocide is unprecedented. And I'm going to keep talking about it. People come to me and they're mad that I keep talking about this. I'm going to keep talking about this.
I wanted to say something. So absolutely, you should keep talking about it. I mean, anyone anywhere should not be imprisoned, tortured, discriminated against because of the ideas that they hold. whether you think that those ideas are ridiculous or not. But I wanted to say something about when I left, because I had dog issues. Armin was saying, why does it take so long? And I think it's because evidence and courts require a specific standard of proof, where bigotry and racism and all these things, they don't. You just can take action based on how you feel, what you think they're like, what people told you they were like. I mean, I know that's a real simplification about it, but in order to meet those burdens of proof, and like what you were saying, there's not a whole lot of people who are comfortable saying anything, because then you have the reactionary violence against people that they know, or people that are left behind in China, or their boss, they lose their job. I mean, so it has this spiral effect. So it takes the gathering is what I think takes so long.
Yeah, we spoke to that a little bit. I think it's also because China is very detailed in the manner in which it is going about this. So they're doing this under the guise of supposedly counterterrorism. Okay, however, counterterrorism is not collectively punishing an entire ethnic group. Okay, in fact, there's evidence that leads me to believe that it's not even exclusive to Uyghur Muslims. It's Uyghur ethnically people. Okay, so they're doing it under the supposed guise of counterterrorism, and they are doing it under the guise of rural education. So this is where some of the enslaved labor comes in. They are doing it under the guise of trying to give these rural people with a lack of education tools and skills to survive in an economy. However, while doing this, they are taking them outside of the region. They're taking them to other parts of China and subjecting them to indoctrination techniques, like forcing them to, sing the national anthem for hours on end and learn Mandarin, forcing them to to lose their own language, again, under the guise of giving them tools to survive in an economy. However, learning those tools should not come at the cost of abandoning your culture. It should not come at the cost of cultural genocide.
When I was watching that video where they were doing that, and they were parenting classes and changing them from wearing their traditional clothing and not allowing them to speak their language, it reminded me in some ways, and this isn't an American is the worst, but of the Carlisle Indian schools in the United States too, because part of what China is also saying is the assimilation needs to happen, because they can't be these separatists because of the charge of separatism, and that we're all one China. And in order to do that, you have to leave everything about you that wasn't state sanctioned, so to speak, behind. And that's why it reminded me a lot of those Carlisle Indian schools, because that was very similar. They stopped wearing their clothes. They couldn't speak their language, so.
All right. So I think Tyler is saying, like, so the U.S. needs to go back to policing the world. America, fuck yeah. Okay, so here's the thing. The consequences that we're suggesting is, like, the United States and North American countries and Western European countries and other countries who want to stand against human rights violation, they don't owe authoritarian regimes trade deals, right? So you not doing trade deals with countries that are violating human rights violations, that is not policing the world. You're not going out and doing, like, military intervention or anything like that. And if you consider that policing the world, I mean, like, why? What, like, nobody is owed you doing trades with them. So this is not something that they have a right to, that you are taking away from them. So, and again, that form of trying to force countries to be more on the side of, not violating human rights, that form does actually help in providing alternatives to military intervention. So actually it might be the opposite of policing the world, right? Because you are providing another method. If you make like these international institutions like the Human Rights Tribunals or the United Nations, if you actually give them some teeth and make them more powerful for it to actually hurt, for these people to actually feel the sting when the world gets united against human rights violations, then that will provide a world where that would create a world where less military intervention is needed, because you have a unified voice of countries that are actually have found another way to pressure you, right? So this would be the opposite of, because it will work, because maybe that will work, it will be less excuse for countries like the United States to be like, oh, we need to go here, we need to go there, we need to send military here, because there's another method that actually works. Anyways, should we go to the...
It should be noted that under the Trump administration, a number of senior Chinese officials have been sanctioned under this, under Mike Pompeo as well. They've also sanctioned, I believe, 11 or so technology companies who are known to do a lot of business in China. And I welcome that wholeheartedly. I want more sanctions. I don't care. Okay.
Especially on individuals.
Yes.
Yeah.
Exactly.
Not like, yeah. Again, there's right ways to do this, there's wrong ways to do this. Sanctions is a complicated topic.
Someone is saying, oh, the typical don't mess with our domestic affairs things. That doesn't apply when there's a genocide.
No, they're agreeing with us, Susanna. They're saying like the other side is like...
I'm triggered.
No, they're saying this is a typical argument from the other side. Okay. Thank you for joining us. Subscribe to our channel. Hit the bell thingy. If you haven't, I don't know why. What's holding you back? Okay. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, why haven't you subscribed to our channel? Explain that to us, please. Like, bell, and also if you're not getting notifications and stuff because YouTube is not telling people that we have shows, because YouTube is like, oh, this person told us that they want to get your shows, right? They want to get your videos, but nah, we think is no. And they also hit the bell button, but nah, you guys are too controversial. We want to show them mainstream stuff. We want to show them CNN or cat videos or whatever. But people are like, no, we want to see Atheist Republic. And YouTube is like, no, we don't think you want this. We're like, no, please show it to us. We say to you, we want to see Atheist Republic. And YouTube is like, no, we think we know what's better for you than you yourself. So, to solve that, there's a link in the description, which is to our newsletter. So hopefully we could email it to you. So hopefully you get some of our content that way, okay? So, yeah, subscribe to our newsletter as well. And share our videos, because... we do get demonetized, that's an obvious, on every one of our videos, so F that, but we don't care about that anymore. But we also get deprioritized, and that's even more damaging to us. Deprioritized, what does that mean? That means we don't show up on the suggested, videos on the right, and all that, on people's homepages, and that's how channels grow. Unfortunately, we can't grow, so we need you guys to share our videos.